I'm just processing edit, doing this while editing. If YouTube recommended you this, please check yourself, please. Okay, so honestly, fuck you, first video, and I have no clue why the hell you probably even clicked on it in the first place, unless you really either A, know what this is and want to just see some random dumbass explain it on the internet, or you have no clue what this is, and you probably should click off. I mean, unless you're 18, but I say that hypocritically. Anyways, I'm gonna go over some stupid shit. Right, so what the hell is a Skulldragon even in the first place? They are basically big fat dragons with more or less this magical capabilities. Or actually no, I think they're just made of magic. Anyways, they're more or less a good pillow. That's all I can really say. But like, it's basically, to quote my own thing, yeah, it's just a dragon with extra steps. Anyways, now to move on to our next bit, because frankly, I have no clue what I'm doing with my time here, and this is basically just a very shitty first video. I say first, with a very big asterisk, because I have several, unlisted and private videos, just there. I'm not going to elaborate. And I'm not going to elaborate on this video either. Just, roll with it, I guess. Or if you probably, yeah, whatever. Pros and cons of being a Skulldragon, more or less, in the first, actually, now, I probably should have at least gone over the fact that, how does this even happen in the first place? Oh, I barely even finished this script. Well, we're going off of memory, baby! Okay, so more or less, in the first grand scheme of things, you really can only become a Skulldragon out of probably, like, 2 main reasons, but it more or less comes down to one. And that is a little old curse. You get cursed to be one. That's pretty much it. There's no way to reverse it. I don't think, at least. Unless, like, magically 2.0, the fucking species decides to come out and have some sort of way, but just assume that you're basically fucked. Anyways, in the grand scheme of things, I probably, you know what, plaster my fucking Sona Echo onto the screen, more or less, as the variation on the left is what he initially would have been, and then the image on the right is what happens if you put on this, well, get cursed. Actually, there's more or less 2 ways his actually become, a Skulldragon and stuff. Like I said, more or less it comes down to being cursed, but it's either afflicted via a mask, or you're just flat fucking cursed. I don't know how, nor why. One of the gods kind of just felt, nah, die. No. Right, I gotta fucking focus. Okay, more or less, pros and cons of being a Skulldragon. More or less, a good half of these are literally just subjective, based on personal preference. Screw probably being able to cast magic. I don't think you could cast magic, bro. You are big as shit. You're probably scary to things. More or less, if you have a thing for it, you're fat and obese. He's, also another subjective thing. Wardrobe malfunction? Whatever the fuck that means you're a dragon. And very big. And a very big, dependent on person to person. You're immortal. You're just immortal. But, more or less, I'd say genuine cons are, you're actually, since you're a big fucker, how can you require more food? You... Ah, shit, I got through my first song. This shit's more than 3 minutes. You're more hungry. Yeah, like I said, these are just the same thing. You require having more to sustain you. And you probably need to start making more money if you even want to sustain yourself. Maybe the wardrobe malfunction probably should be a negative. And, Jesus Christ. I'm going to skip over this thing and just jump to how to make a Skulldragon. Because more or less, actually, I have images, like, hold up, just let me get this onto the screen. I say this as, like, editing me is doing this, like, probably not even a minute beforehand. More or less, just be creative. But, some genuine key points are just, the mask is kind of the main part of it. You got tiny ass wings in the back, like that I keep forgetting to put on my Sona whenever I have him like this. Honestly, I keep forgetting the neon strip as well. But more or less, it kind of just comes down to be creative. Hell, if I'm not mistaken, another bit literally just says be creative or something. Skulldragon curse. More or less, I have a very hazy bullshit of damn. So this is what probably gave you a curse if it wasn't via a mask. I have no clue what it is, because, I mean, artwork can only give you so much. And, Alright, and now to actually do what is probably the genuine biggest bullshit of this. What if this was real? It's never gonna happen. It shouldn't happen. If it does, then a good half of the world is probably fucked. But no matter how way you twist it, the government will be on your ass. If you somehow get afflicted by it, or if they more or less find in the existence of these masks and what they do, the government is going to be after it, and possibly you. Who knows? Because I mean, hey, and now let's just pretend that the government kind of just says, man, we don't care, and more or less just leaves it be, which I doubt, but more or less pretend that it doesn't happen. What if you were a kid, teenager, or parent? It's like, because more or less kids are naive enough just to kind of just put things on. Parents somehow like probably would just assume it's just a funny little mask, probably put it on to fool around with a kid. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I think I like wrote babies here too, but oh, yeah, it's right there. But more or less, in the case of kids, what happens to them? It's never depicted for obvious reasons. Because, you know. But, kid's stupid and I'm no porn artist. Yet. Hey, you know what, let's just pretend that's for the future. Because more or less, actually, wait, no, that literally oh, god, wait, nope, I reiterate my statement. God, I am so stupid. But again, what if it actually does happen to a kid? And what happens if the same bullshit for the adults? Do they kind of just become the same size as the standard Skulldragon? Do they become like more or less like more smaller sizes akin to dragon kids? And so like what? And then I kind of put babies here, but more or less I excluded them for, you know, again, same reason as kids, but like more or less I still explained to kids, but regardless, I did the same thing here. Or more or less, I have two interpretations on how babies would even work with this stupid-ass mask if it somehow applied to them. Full-size dragon with coordination of a literal toddler. And then just a baby dragon. Now, anyways, in the case of behavior, I'm slowly confused on what is how did we get to 8 minutes? What the actual fuck? Right. Okay, so more or less, this is kind of more or less just this case of immortality. Does your mind still technically grow if you're immortal and just can't age? Because that kind of just is the entire point of what I have written in this section. Does one mind still grow older, or does it stay in this kind of stasis of never aging and never degrading? Providing that the mental capability still keeps getting better, that I couldn't necessarily become a fully grown adult or even an ancient being if cared for or left alone for long enough. Right. You know what, I genuinely wonder what is wrong with me, but, chat, we're fucking cooked here. You know what, this is... I really shouldn't make this my first video, but honestly, who cares? My reputation is probably gonna get worse from here. And besides, it's probably just gonna be funny when I post it to a group chat. Right. Also, I am not gonna get this down into a bite-sized video. Jesus. Right, but then, in the case of teenagers, there are a few things that are kind of blatant to say. Obviously, depending on what fucking whatever the hell their age is and what school they go to, disregarding the fucking government. It's all about how people would perceive others. Like, hey, like, also it would be a little weird to have a little dragon in class. That would probably be taller than everyone inside the building, letting mind you. But I did this English, my strong suit. Also, I'm listening to an entire separate track. Like, I could probably put it down in here as like our hopeful final glance. But more or less, I'll put the credits and such, because more or less, you know, normal things. Right, body dysmorphia. I think that's what I'm technically trying to grab at here, but more or less it kind of applies to wherever the hell this bullshit sheet. Now, what if you're a parent? Why did I go into more detail on this? Now, what happens if you're a parent? Let's just take for example, single parent with a kid. Hey, let's kind of just reintroduce the government for this one, because I have no clue what the hell my morals are. So one day, you and your kid are walking down a forest path, and the kid catches a glimpse of a mask hidden up in the bush and brings it over to you, because since you're none the wiser, you put it on and find yourself morphing into a Skulldragon via said mask. Now we run into a bunch of things that could potentially happen. Your clothes are probably torn to shreds due to, you know, growing in size, becoming a fat ass, and probably some other bullshit. You're probably in a public area, and more or less people could pass through the location, and since it's a point 1, you're most likely naked. You could. That more or less brings it to a different problem. And then 3, you're probably hungry now. Because reasons. A image here that more or less has a vague enough explanation. Yes, there is lore involved with this. Partially. Actually, probably no, it's just the image that involved with it. Anyway. And now more or less you kind of run into some issues. Since your clones are probably trying to shred, you're left naked, and assuming that Skulldragons have, you know, genitalia, which they most likely do, it leaves you kind of just exposed in the open. Which, while it's disgusting, it probably doesn't violate indecency laws, provided that the government doesn't instantly swipe you away. Misdemeanor, clean record, possible registration of a sex offender, kid being taken as well, probably. And in all honesty, there's a situation. In a situation of the law has been violated, I'm no lawyer, and AI doesn't seem to be helping me in the slightest. So let's just move on to the next bit and pretend you somehow got home. But now you're home, somehow getting yourself inside your house without being like I said, you're big fat and probably can't fit through the door. But let's say you somehow got through. How are you gonna take care? More or less, how are you going to do a good half of things? How are you going to do anything that involves you going outside? In the case of the government and your clothing situation, are you actually capable of caring for your kid in this state? Probably, but probably things are gonna have to be done. Are we gonna explain this to anyone that you know? Cause like, you know, it's a little difficult to, you know, how do you explain becoming a dragon to a group of people? And more or less, how do they identify you as the person? But, anyways, in short, it's kind of just, how the fuck do you adapt to life? Which, damn, that's a bit of an issue. I'm also, Capca, I require you to probably function a little better, because I'm slowly just starting to assume that this video is longer than it is, because we've already reached like 14 minutes, but anyways, alright, because frankly, I would have had a section of what I could brew, but more or less, this kind of just comes down to bullshit theories. But my opinion on Skulldragons is, they're cool. More or less, if you understand what you're doing with them, they could probably be fine additions to a lineup of characters. Or, just used to fuel your fetish. We don't talk about it. More or less, I'm kind of just openly admitting this on the internet, but, you see nothing. But more or less, others' opinions, I'm going to refer to them by entirely different names, but just, you know, actually no, I'm just going to leave it anonymous. I mean, it's a cool idea. They're big, and I'd rail the shit out of one. I don't even put the mask on. And then another friend is, well, I more or less just asked them, like, how they saw dragons as a whole, because I barely knew if they knew what Skulldragons were. Anyway, I think dragons are cool. I like some designs they get and stuff. More or less, I have no clue why I'm making this video. Actually, no, I'm making this video because I'm bored and because a friend is in D&D, and I know that they're going to be there for a good 2 to 3 hours. And I want something to do, so I'm kind of just here. I'm probably going to take a piss. This has been Local Kobold, or whatever the fuck you know me as if you know me, honey, and have a good day, I guess. Also, if you're from the server, none of all of this is fabricated. You have been lied to. Perish.